excuse me, as a womb worker, keeper of ancient plant medicine, sacred ceremonies, and women's blood mysteries. So thank you so much, Omolewa, for joining us at the Psilocybin Summit.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Before we dive in, I know that you prepared some, before we dive in, I know you prepared some kind of thoughts that you just wanted to share with the audience. So I'll give you a moment to just kind of tune in and tell us a little bit about yourself and why it is that you felt called to participate in the summit today.
Yes, greetings. How are you? Yes, I'm Omolewa, and I love psilocybin. You know, it has drastically changed my life for the better and those around me. You know, so being on the panel allows me to share my experiences, my wisdom, my stories, and hopefully I can be of benefit to someone out there, you know, or be a reflection for where they are on their journey.
Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you even get into this?
Well, it started out, well, I've been a massage therapist for 16 years. So massage therapy has been my first love. And from there, working with aromatherapy and just the human body overall with the different systems. You know, it's like, I don't even think, well, there was a while I didn't even realize how much I'm having an impact on the circulatory system, the neurological system, the endocrine system, you know. So it was through that I just was able to communicate with the human body to see what it needed, you know. Also, I began doing birth work. And well, even before the birth work as a healer, I wanted to know if there was something that I could do to see more into people's bodies or trauma or pain and just be able to be more sensitive to their needs. And I was recommended power plants by way of psilocybin. And from there, a whole world opened up for me as far as healing goes, the human body, my ego, my thoughts, my mind, my experiences, you know, and my world just began to expand from there. You know, and through that, through my works and by example, people began to ask me to hold space for them. And I began to cultivate the medicine. And, you know, it's just been on and popping from there, you know.
Mm-hmm. So how did working with psilocybin change your understanding of the human body?
The human body is the most dynamic machine on this planet, you know, and I feel like there's so much we don't know, you know, especially from an inner perspective. You know, all we kind of know is what other people tell us about our bodies and how it functions and things like that. And that's great. But through psilocybin, seeing the human body from the inside, feeling the human body and its processes and the things that we experience, for example, like crying being the greatest form of purification that we have for the human body, you know. So to literally feel your cells repair themselves and heal themselves through purification or through laughter. You know, we know the body is capable of doing these things and the processes thereof, but to actually feel and embody, you know, these sensations, it's just, you know, it gives me more trust in the human body, more trust in the planet and myself, you know, and that's a bit about the topic that I wanted to speak on today. It's like, we take in so much from our first breath from being a baby, and there's so much information in the atmosphere, you know, and we have to get it on the inside of us and process it from there, you know, and it's going to be exclusive. My body and my experiences are going to be exclusive for me. So your experiences with your body, your blood and psilocybin is going to be completely different, you know. So just using the inner compass to process life and emotions and feelings and pain and disease and all these things. We have the power ourselves to tap in and be more accountable about the experiences that we're having, you know, be more empowered through our experiences through psilocybin, because it is such a self-initiation. You know, that's what I refer to it as, a self-initiation, because you know, you're able to get on the inside of yourself and just really, again, filter and process through all the stimuli that we're constantly receiving on a day-to-day through the TV, the radio, the air. Your neighbor could be processing something and you feel it in your home. You know, I just think we haven't been conditioned or taught enough about our bodies, about our spirit, you know, how we take on information and trauma and then how to release it, or how to incorporate these certain experiences into our lives, into our crafts, into all that we are and do, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how you talk about the mystery of the human body and the mystery of what's going on inside of us, because obviously in sort of like the Western medical paradigm, right? It's like you're sick, you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you what's wrong with you. You don't, you know, tune into yourself and discover what's wrong with you. I also think it's interesting too that you talk about like tuning into yourself because you're a healer. So what is the role of the healer in helping people tune into themselves, and how do you use psilocybin as a healer to guide other people on their own journeys to tune in to intuit?
I'm sorry, when the message popped up, it kind of threw my brain off there. Can you repeat it just briefly? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's no problem at all. I just think I was saying it's so interesting how you were talking about the power of psilocybin to help us tune into to ourselves, right?
Yes.
And so I'm curious, like as a healer, how do you use psilocybin to help other people tune into themselves, and what is your role in facilitating that process?
So I think first it begins with me doing the work on my own. You know, whoever wrote that quote, you can only meet others as deeply as you've met yourself. It's so true. It's so true. So me really processing and sitting with myself and sitting with all of my everything allows me to hold that space for others, being selfless, being non-judgmental, removing the ego, letting them know that, hey, I'm a beautiful Black woman on this planet and mother, you know, and I'm alive, I'm okay, you know. So sometimes people need to see the reflection and hear your testimonies about the work that you do, you know. Again, and even with the birth work and all of that, it just allows me to allow others to have their own experiences. I think that's what makes me a great healer, is allowing others to have their experience, whatever that means, you know. So me being able to be a healer, part of that is allowing you to heal yourself in your own time, you know, in your own way. I can provide the psilocybin as well as the ceremony for you, but until you're actually ready, you know, that's how it works. Yes, if someone just put, you can't cure if you don't learn. Yes, I have to learn. I have to go through the fire, you know. So that's why I'm kind of like, as a healer, even with, let's just say the cesareans of my girls that I talk about, sometimes you got to take one for the team and have these experiences so you can guide people, you know. And outside of that, with experiences that I don't have direct experience with, we are a part of this universal consciousness. You know, one of the most amazing midwives that I know doesn't have a biological child on this planet, you know. So sometimes people are like, well, how do you know something if you haven't gone through it? I'm still connected to the earth where all the information lies, you know. So with psilocybin allowing us to have this connection to the bugs, to the earth, to pain, to trauma, you know, I can say through one of my experiences, I felt the pain of Black men. It was my first experience with psilocybin. And I know that Black men are in pain, yes, but to actually feel it inside of my body, you know, to feel it inside of my cells and feel it inside of my organs allows me to have greater compassion, you know, and not just for Black men or women, but for all people, you know.
I just want to acknowledge for all the folks in the audience, thank you so much for your questions. For Omolewa, I'm sorry about that.
Omolewa.
It's a beautiful name. You're a beautiful person. I feel bad for butchering it. But anyway, I just want to acknowledge we see your questions. Thank you so much for them. And I'm going to go through them. I'm going to direct them to her one at a time. And but first, I just want to go a little bit deeper into some of your intentions for today. You've already touched on it a lot, this idea of self-accountability. I can provide the psilocybin for you, I can provide the ceremony space, but if you're not ready, if you're not willing to do the work and to go inward, then, you know, there's really only so much I can do. Can you talk a little bit more about that, this idea of, you know, where did the title, you can talk about so many things, right? Because you've had a life of experience at this point with these medicines. So why was this the title that you chose? Why is this the theme that you wanted to really talk about today?
Well, so people have been coming to me even before the psilocybin work to kind of share about, you know, their problems and things that they're going through. And I've always provided care, be it, you know, emotional, spiritual, physical care, you know, through gifts and things like that. But I also found that there's a part of people who think they want something, or, you know, they want to heal, they say, but they're not willing to do the work that it takes, you know, and that's okay, you know. But so I'm seeing that people aren't really being real with themselves. You know, I found there was a space in my own life where I wasn't being real with myself, and not because I just was choosing not to be real, but guess what? I had to really ask myself some questions. So that was a part of a little setup that I had for you guys, you know, today, asking, how are you? You know, and one of those things is, are you happy? You know, do you have joy? Are you doing the things that you want to do with your life? Because if not, you're not going to feel well. You're not going to take care of yourself, you know, and that's kind of where we are as a society. So like I say, just listening to people almost constantly complaining about their problems that they have the power to fix and correct, you
Yeah.
know? So that's kind of where I am with the work, and also seeing people continuously taking psilocybin and going back to the same shit, you know? So for me, it's out of love. Part of my medicine is tough love, you know, and with my spiritual consulting, I feel my greatest gift is accountability to people, you know? And I've mentioned this before on the talk. People may call and say, you know, I'm depressed. And I say, are you drinking enough water? No. Are you getting a full night's rest? No. You know, when was the last time you took a vacation? When was the last time you had touch, human touch, you know? So there's a lot of basic things that we aren't doing, but we want to jump into the glory and power of psilocybin. And that's fine, but it's finding that balance of doing that deep, deep, dark inner work where psilocybin gets into those cracks and crevices, but also doing what you need to do. We all know what we need to do. You know, no guru, shaman, or anybody is really going to give you anything or tell you anything that you don't know. We're just here to remind you, you know. So I just really, not trying to control anyone's psilocybin experience, but it's such a great, beautiful, and powerful tool that we truly have to shift our paradigms. No more excuses for why we aren't thriving. You know, I'm in Jamaica. And people say, well, why did you go to Jamaica? I say, well, Jamaica reminds me of how I feel on the inside. Jamaica's my inner reflection of who I am. So being in the inner city, concrete jungle, you know, not having certain environments to grow my own food, like the hummingbirds come to my house every day. Hummingbirds, butterflies, to me, that's living, that's beauty for me. You know, everyone else may not want to come here. You know, I'm tired of raising my children in environments that aren't conducive for life. And like I say, a lot of people want to heal, but they are not in environments that are conducive to healing. You know, so that's really what I want to do. Like I say, from a bit of a tough love perspective, kind of get us to really sit with ourselves. And like I say, let's say psilocybin, for instance. If you have 10 people in the room, 9 of them are going to tell you that you need a sitter. Me, on the other hand, you know, I'll kind of talk to the person and, you know, feel them out. But I highly recommend most of your psilocybin journeys to be alone. As much as I love to sit for you and massage you and nurture you and speak over you and all of that, you're still not confronting self. Even with all this love I'm going to put all over you, it could be a barrier for you getting to some of those painful truths that you have for yourself. You know, so that's why I recommend sometimes sit with yourself. When you seek God for yourself, see what that feels like. See where your traumas are affecting your love life or your finances or your surroundings. I can't be in an environment where shit ain't growing. You know, so it's like we have to expand using the psilocybin as a tool to expand our awareness and our consciousness. See what you like, see what you love, see what raises your vibration, see what lowers your vibration, you know. But again, at the end of the day, we have to be accountable for self. You know, I found in one of my psilocybin journeys, I had to give myself permission. You know, it's funny now, but in that space is like from the time we're young, where, excuse me, can I go to the bathroom? Can I answer the question? Can I, you know, even some of our spirituality systems, you know, God, we're nothing. We're not worthy. So all these programs that we've gotten have us asking for permission to live, to connect, to be grand, and all of these things. And it's like we owe it to ourselves, not our parents, not our children, teachers, society, any of those false illusions outside of ourselves. Like if you're not happy and living a great life, it's because you aren't consciously choosing to do so. So when it comes to psilocybin and a little bit more of the higher doses that people are afraid of, first of all, I'm gonna share my secret. I want to get a shirt that says "fuck fear," you know, and it's like allowing fear to be a catalyst for change. You know, yes, psilocybin is very intense, but there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. So in that, when we trust the world around us, when we trust the trees and the hummingbirds that come to visit, I don't think I can't trust the hummingbird, because guess what? I can trust myself first. I trust the life that I've created, you know, so we have to continue to, again, I lost my thought a little bit, but just continue to activate and do the things we know we're supposed to do. I think it's really simple. Oh, I was talking about the little bit of a higher doses. You need to scare the shit out of yourself. You do. You need, sometimes we need to be afraid, because that's what changes or releases the hormones that we need to sometimes get our shit together. You know, it may, you know, it could be overweight issue, whatever, but it's like until the doctor tells you you got 6 months to live, now you're the hardest working, you know, person on the planet to get yourself together. But when we take these medicines on a more consistent basis, like literally probably quarterly, you know, or what's best for the individual, to constantly check in, depending on your environment, where you're going from day to day, relationships, your client base. You know, I have to do quite a bit of work too, because other people give me their stuff to help them process it. You know, even with birth, there's no place for fear in the birthing world, you know, so they instill these fears, you know, just over everything that we do to be authentic. You know, mushrooms assist us in being our authentic selves, y'all. Like, we're spirit beings on this planet, and we should really be thriving more than we are. You know, so again, using it as a tool to step into that happiness. You want to move to Hawaii? Go to Hawaii. You know, um, go have these experiences that you know your soul and spirit needs. But how do you know what your soul and spirit needs if you never truly tap into that? You know, finding what our roles are. So, you know, looking through different definitions of empowerment and disempowerment, you know, again, I had to find out who I am. I had to find out who I am, what my powers are, what my strengths and weaknesses are. Again, things that raise my vibration and lower my vibration. But again, you got to sit still with self enough. And that's really what the fear is. There's no fear of psilocybin. The fear is actually having to be accountable for your own shit. That's so scary. You know, that's the biggest fear there is. So like I say, just let's move forward. I just really want us to move forward and be happy and be joyful and create our worlds around us. That's what psilocybin is here for us to shift these paradigms of fear and things. You know, like I say, fear does have its place, don't get me wrong. I went skydiving a couple years ago, right? I was so scared. I thought of every worst scenario. You know, I'll never be able to help with birthing a child or massage another client. What if I'm paralyzed from the neck down? Who's going to take all of these things? So I did this 14,000-foot tandem jump and I lived. I'm still here. But after that, guess what? I can't come up with an excuse. If you jump out of an airplane, you can't, what I'm gonna tell somebody I'm scared of something for? I can't. So allowing psilocybin to push you to those limits, push you to those thresholds, so we can be the invincible entities that we came here to be. Let's be powerful. You know, like I say, with it being the food of the gods, there's no reason we should let these lower level things affect us the way they do. You know, I know COVID is a very sensitive topic right now. It is. But how can you convince the human being that you can't breathe the fresh air outside, or that wearing a mask over your face is really healthy to your brain and your cells and your organs and your body? That shows how much we don't know ourselves. That shows how much we may even subconsciously want to be oppressed by the system and certain things. So there are some of us with this work with psilocybin, we have to separate ourselves. We have to hold ourselves and others to a certain standard. Otherwise, this work look like the rest of the shit that's not working for people. You know, so if you're going to use psilocybin, again, I always say there is no right or wrong way to use psilocybin, but use it in a way where you're going to get the most profound results from it. Take the higher doses, you know, face those fears. I always say psilocybin in those 6 hours makes us go through everything we're dreading from day to day, trying to avoid. We don't want to experience heartbreak or pain or vomit or head. We don't want to think about it. Think about it, sit with it, process it so you can be better for it. And that's where those intentions come in. You know, I think there's a fine line with psilocybin intentions and the ego, because it's I want this and I want to see that. I think our greatest intention should be to trust the process. Simply trust the process. Again, when we know the human body, when we know how the earth operates, we won't be fearful. We'll lean into it and get all that it came to give us, you know?
I'm just processing what you said. People are loving you. They loved you already. They love you even more. It's just love, love, love coming up through the chat. Hey folks, there's so much love coming through the chat that questions might get lost. So if you know how to use the Q&A feature, drop your questions there. We've been chatting for about 30 minutes and I'd love to give the audience an opportunity to ask some of their questions. So I think I'm gonna just pick a couple here and direct them towards you if that's okay.
Okay.
Let's see, Rachel Trocano, how do you guide or help someone having a bad experience while you are trying to heal? She asks.
I've had no bad experiences. What is a bad experience?
I mean, I would say that Eve or Rachel, if you want to clarify, you can go ahead and do that in the chat. Probably they're referring to a bad trip. So maybe you want to address this concept of a bad trip. What do you think about that?
For me?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what a bad trip is, honestly. You know, I kind of say there is no good or bad, there's just what is. And some people can be so hard on themselves. That was a part of my intro too. Is everybody taking care of themselves? Are you being easy, gentle, and nurturing with yourself? You know, because sometimes, for one, I think with the bad trips is because you're not taking enough. So you're still stuck between control and what I think and my expectations, instead of like birth. At some point, you have to surrender. Even if it's to the doctors cutting the baby outside of you, when they put that medicine in your veins, you're out like a light. So surrender has to happen. So you're going to go the easy way, or you're going to go, quote unquote, the hard way. You know, are you taking care of yourself outside of psilocybin? You know, so I'm slow but sure with my book, but most people are still looking for a savior. They're looking for the mushrooms to save them. And they do, they save them, they assist people, but not when you're not doing the work. You know, again, I'm a massage therapist. Even when I hold space for people, that's part of the process is massage therapy, to start the body to heal, and you know, just the process of release and meditation and all of that. But if you haven't had a massage in the past 15 years, do you know, or even a year, do you know how much toxins and stress and memories are trapped into your muscles? So there's other things we should be aligning with ourselves. And again, letting psilocybin continue to be a tool. Like I say, what is a bad trip? Maybe I need to study more about that and figure out what a bad trip is. I think
No,
it's
I
just
think you
what
had
is.
the perfect, I think you had the perfect answer. I think you had the perfect answer because
And look,
there's so much.
I'm so serious. Like, what is
No.
a bad trip? And that's, again, we're so hard on ourselves instead of saying, you know what, this is a part of the journey. Um, I did a call today, and the sister was just boo-hooing and crying, and she said, I fucked up. And I said, guess what? Yes, you did. And you're gonna fuck up again, honey. It's okay. You know, fucking up is part of the journey. So, like I say, we have to learn to be easy and laugh at ourselves. And that's what I love about the psilocybin. You can get in there and laugh at that fuck up. You can cry, you can dissect it, and you can pull yourself back together. And like I told her, never fuck up again. You know, like I say, you decide. That's your journey. You know what you need to do to not ever make that choice again. You know, and like her, this today, she was just in the sunken place. You know, and I had to hold her to be accountable in that sunken place. Don't try to jump out of it so fast and deflect the sunken place. Look around. You may need to be a little bit comfortable. You keep finding yourself there. Maybe there's a part of you that likes the sunken place. So that's what I say about the accountability. Everything is not on Google. There's not always an article to back or support you and your beliefs and what your intuition and your cells are speaking through you. You know, so like I say, we're so out of touch with self, and we have to realize we're the mushroom too. You know, there's no separation from the mushrooms. Should anyone swallow 20 grams alone? Should I answer that?
uh, yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of questions that there have been a lot of questions kind of in this vein, which a lot of questions sort of around how do I start tripping on mushrooms if I never have before? How much do I take? Where do I do them? How do I get access to them? All kinds of just like, how do I even begin to embark on this journey type of questions. So maybe you could give us an overview and at the same time address the 20-gram question.
Well, yes, like I said, I think the first step would be, you know, how am I overall? You know, I'm big on asking people, how is your overall quality of living? You know, like, let's start there. Are you ready to heal? Are you ready to move out of your own way? You know, again, the individual should be spirit led on this journey. And even when they're not, like I say, whatever that quote unquote bad journey is, you would have to ask that individual, what do you think happened? And I'm sure they would tell you, oh, I haven't been taking care of myself, or I didn't do what you said. I didn't do the massages leading up. I didn't do the spiritual baths. I didn't fast from Facebook for 2 weeks. You know, I didn't leave the relationship. So here we are, like I say, constantly trying to pull these things into our journeys. But like I say, just first of all, taking care of yourself and trusting yourself. Most people don't trust themselves, you know, or am I gonna die? Are you gonna get in your car and drive away when you know you should be sitting your ass down doing the journey? You know, are you comfortable with crying? Are you comfortable with screaming? Are you comfortable for, taking a big shit by yourself or vomiting through this process? So it's just kind of like you have to know who you are. You have to know what's best. I've gate kept for people who I never needed to be there because they weren't able to access the point that they needed to access. So like I said, you got to know yourself. That's the first thing, is knowing yourself. As far as the 20 grams, what's your goal for 20 grams? Can you contain yourself? Again, do you trust yourself in the process? I just think that's so important. People are like, well, I'm scared and I don't want this. Most people, I haven't reached the 20 gram mark yet. I've done 12, Baba and I are connected, and Baba says you can't even reach the threshold that you need to reach under 20 grams, But again, that's up to the individual to work their way up. I will do 20 grams one day. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm in no rush to do that. I have other things that I have to move around and prepare and, before I feel led to do that, But if you have the quantities, go for it. Seek God for yourself. But again, make sure you're taking care of yourself, because for every, so I met this guy and I had this wonderful, wonderful time with him. Wonderful time. And the next day, something happened. He was in a relationship, whatever, but it was as high as I went, that was how low I went down, And I found this thing maybe on the mushroom group on Facebook, and it said pretty much your capacity to love, it's almost like grief is the opposite end of that thing, So sometimes you want to take 20 grams. Are you comfortable with what the opposite of that feels like? Life is about balance, So as much as I can ride that 12-gram wave, sometimes I may have to sit in the sunken place with it too and still be okay and still dance in the fucking sunken place. And be accountable for where are you. May in the second place, you may be comfortable enough to set some pictures on the wall. But when you're out in the world, don't complain about depression and woe is me and I'm a victim and all these things when you have the power to change. And if psilocybin isn't teaching you that or showing you that, then you aren't taking enough and you aren't taking care of yourself as a compliment. I'm trying to think of the word that they use when like different rappers and things, kind of like a compilation. Got to take care of yourself, do the medicine, take the bath, travel, get rid of shit out your closets, all of these things that we're detached to, relationships, friends that don't make us feel great. So it's like we're so used to not taking care of ourselves. When psilocybin comes along, it still kind of doesn't break these old habits. If we don't let it.
Can you pronounce your first name for us one more time? Because several people have said they really want you to do that.
Yes, Omolewa.
Omolewa. Okay. And so there's no way, I'm sorry guys, but there's no way we're going to get through all these questions, but we're just going to do our best here. So we've had a few folks say, can you provide us with your list of, just let us know, how do you prepare for a psilocybin experience? What are do you have some rituals, some specific things that you like to do? When you mentioned baths, a couple people said baths, ? Like they want to know more about what these baths are about, what kind of food you eat.
I eat everything, because that's what makes me happy. I'm the girl who orders dessert as an appetizer. I don't care about veganism, sometimes vegetarian, all of that. Everybody has their own journey, But as far as preparing, once you decide you're going to take this journey, then that's when the ritual begins. So you, like I say, really the psilocybin journey really shouldn't be separate from your life. Again, you should already be fasting every now and again. So I recommend some fasting, but it depends, you know, on your diet and your health and certain things. Everything isn't for everyone. Cleaning your space. It's just like you're getting ready to go to the hospital and have a baby. How do you and that baby want to re-enter that home in that space? Do you want it clean and welcoming, you know? And if you don't, that's okay too. Now you got to come home and deal with that. Massage therapy. Most people don't get massages on a regular basis. When I was in the States, I was getting massages once a week or once every 2 weeks, because that's what makes my body function optimally. So preparing for your journey, you should do the things that you're already doing to take care of yourself and maintain yourself. Spiritual bathing. We come through this earth through blood and water. Water through all different spirituality systems is a form of baptism, purification. Like the human body, the cells take on so much pollution and things in the air. Like I recommend even a good body scrub or exfoliant. Like don't even take those dead ass skin cells into your journey with you. You know, we have to be that serious about that so we can get the results we need. So spiritual bathing, allowing your body and your skin to detox. And like I say, be in a mode ready to receive everything that is, you know, that you're coming to get. Do you need a laxative? Everybody doesn't have a regular bowel movement. You know, you go into this space, you may need to take a laxative tea or drink more water, do something and take you a few good bowel movements or one good bowel movement before you step into that space. You know, people who, you know, you shouldn't be around anyway. You know, so like I say, even with the aftercare or integration, I say the integration begins in the beginning. Just like a woman having a baby, postpartum care is in the beginning. You already have to get your mind right for these results that you're looking to achieve in the end. You know, not asking too many questions all the time, you know, and after the ceremony, like I say, still taking care of yourself. Everybody wants to tell everybody. They want to post it on Facebook. They want to compare notes. And sometimes you're still receiving downloads days and weeks later. So that's what I just say. Take care of yourself. And like I say, even if you don't, that's okay too. That's how you learn how to take better care of yourself, by not doing it. You learn how not to fuck up by fucking up. You know, we're human. So like I say, we have to be a lot more easier on ourselves. And like I say, using this tool for its highest capacity. It's an honor for us to have this sacred plant medicine, to do the things that I found nothing else can do for us, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you did sort of hint on it already, so I think it's a good transition. You talked about water and blood and coming into the world and birthing. A lot of people definitely have been asking questions about how you use entheogens, psilocybin in the birthing process. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I personally don't use it in my practice. You know, I provide education and support for the families who do. That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, absolutely. And have you, I mean, do you want to talk about this a little more? I think some people might like to hear about, even if you haven't done it personally, if this is something that you've seen benefit other people, or if you think, I mean,
Absolutely, absolutely.
What does
Well,
that
from the
look
beginning,
like?
yes, from the beginning, like me personally, I recommend, again, it's not my experience, but I recommend people already have an experience and trust with psilocybin. You know, you have to be in touch with your own spirit, where when spirit is telling you to do something, you do it. You know, if psilocybin, it may be 20 women and you're the one that psilocybin is coming up for. Do you question that? Do you ask the other women how they feel? Do you not do it because they're not comfortable with that experience? And even in the journey, in the pregnancy, we're already shamans, we're already psychedelic during this time. You know, so again, using that time with and without psilocybin to be present with your pregnancy, with your expanding body and your hormonal changes. You know, a lot of women, the truth is, they don't want to be pregnant. Sometimes it happens, so now they fall into a state of depression or grief or disappointment. And there are women who need psilocybin to lift their spirits, you know, to get them out of their ego and out of their fears and focus on the pregnancy and moving forward, you know, and deal with those truths and kind of redirect certain energies. The psilocybin has shown women how to birth that baby when it comes, what position that they'll need to get in. It may make them stand up during that experience and start doing some squats or see some things that your body needs to move and adjust in order for this baby to get into a good position in the birth canal. You know, not all the times are we tuned in to what our body needs. Once again, you know, on the back end with breastfeeding, not all women, their ducts and their genes work to produce that healthy breast milk. The psilocybin goes in there and moves things around and restructures and clears emotional and psychological blockages so that the breast milk can flow to the babies. You know, we're giving women everything else under the sun during pregnancy and birth, and we have the nerve to say, oh, cannabis during pregnancy? Psilocybin, but these are the things that are assisting women, and I don't have a full layout of the facts, but babies aren't coming born with cleft lips and congenital heart disease and all of these things. How many people was taking mushrooms and didn't know they're pregnant? Babies come out smarter than them. You know, also helping the husband to bond with the mother during pregnancy. You know, the men are pregnant too and they go through things. I often recommend women holding space for their partners during pregnancy. Like, it's such a time to connect. It's such a rites of passage. You know, how does it affect the baby? You know, how does it affect us? There's a lot of things that we're not even aware, but like I say, seeing the children grow and develop more, seeing the breast milk flow, seeing the children, their vocabulary is amazing. Their spiritual gifts at such a young age, their clarity and their knowledge, again, we have to almost introduce them to this God molecule. Look at the shit that's going on in the world. You know, again, what is psilocybin going to do to you? Babies are a lot more resilient than we think they are, you know, and I think it's day 49 where DMT is introduced into the baby's body, you know, so these are processes of nature that we're not even familiar with that are already taking place. Just like the endocannabinoid system with the babies, like this thing is already happening without our permission and without our approval, you know? Yes, women, yep, making birth easier, allowing them to trust the process and lean into it. Again, we fear birth. We're scared of it. We're scared of ourselves. And that's all the epidural does. It's just like some women who need epidurals. They're able to get out of their head and the body opens up and the baby slides right out. You know, so why not use organic technology to do that? You know why not? Because the pharmaceutical companies are not going to be trying to have that shit. They don't want women empowered through birth because that's how you change the world. Is empowering babies and empower the mothers that are carrying them. So there's always going to be backlash about us or about telling us what's best for us while we're pregnant. You know, that's crazy. And we go and we listen and we open up our bodies. We open up the kingdom of heaven to these doctors who don't trust our bodies. They don't trust birth. So again, whatever you feel you need to do, cannabis, mushrooms, like I say, simply drinking more water, you know, not drinking enough water can affect your pregnancy. Not stretching, not, you know, removing the stress out of your life. These things affect pregnancy and babies too in ways that we're not aware. You know, look at how cesareans are changing the whole microbiome of the human, not coming through that birth canal and being exposed to those healthy bacteria and fungi. How does that affect the baby? How does being born, you know, the inductions are at an all-time high. So how does your baby being born before the day it may have actually supposed to be here, how does that affect your baby? You know, and how does it impact your baby too, you know? Yeah.
It was all really, really beautifully said. And so something else that people have been wanting to, you to talk about for a while now is psilocybin and massage. So can you talk a little bit about how you incorporate those two things?
I love massage therapy. It's my gift to the planet. I've massaged hundreds, probably thousands of people over these 16 years. And it's like, that's one of the main things people are missing in life is healthy touch, where we can help like I say, the different systems of the body. And a lot of trauma is stuck inside of the muscles and the tissue and the ligaments. I've had people on my table just naturally, and they're crying and they're sobbing and they're releasing because that trauma or that death or that domestic violence or that abandonment issue was trapped in certain muscles of the body. So have somebody lovingly help you release that and push those energies through, combining aromatherapy or stretching. Like, we have to take better care of our bodies. Like, everybody needs massage. Massage is a spiritual practice, just like rest. So again, all these things I definitely incorporate. Washing your hair. You know how much we think and carry stuff around in our head, and you go into a journey and you're still overthinking. That's because you got spiritual gook all attached to your crown. I washed my hair before the call today. So, doing the good hair washing and exfoliating your skin, like, we have to love on ourselves and let psilocybin complement that love that we're already giving ourselves, So definitely massage therapy. Even I feel like, so I wrote this article about massage therapy as ritual and really setting your intentions before going to get a massage. Okay, God, my shoulders are tight, I need a massage. But instead saying, you know what? I'm going to get this massage and I'm going to release everything that don't serve me. I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to be a brand new woman. So like I say, incorporating those feel good things where the oxytocin is being released, where you feel more relaxed and more flexible. I just think those things are wonderful complements to the psilocybin. And also, while being under the psilocybin, really feeling and embodying the benefits of massage. And really feeling and seeing and embodying what you're holding on to and where your spots of tension are, Yoni steams, all of that a woman does for her womb. When we do that and incorporate through microdose or a session, sit with those energies that are in your womb and feel them release. Feel the cells repair themselves and release themselves for your body. And with that, I feel like the things that we're doing will have a greater impact when we're receiving them from a different awareness,
So a lot of people have been asking personal questions, and I was trying to ask questions that are broader and apply to many people, but I think this is an important one, and I just want to honor this person. Philip has asked, my wife messaged me to say that her mom is dying from her returned cancer. As someone who focuses primarily on the birth process, can you give me any words on how I can help my wife as her mother passes through the other side of life, and what that means for my wife afterwards? Or even how can we help her mom in this process? So touching a bit on dying and death, which is a consistent theme here.
I think the first thing would be your wife taking care of herself, or you taking care of your wife. I know sometimes during these spaces are sensitive because you don't want to be in a full journey and your mother happens to make her transition. I mean, you may not want that. That may need to be what happens. But again, we're so fearful. She really needs to use this time to love her mother. Her mother isn't going anywhere. So use this time to love mom and wash her body and wash mom's hair and speak those affirmations and guide her into her next level of awareness. Sometimes we want to help people from their journey. Sometimes that's not our role. Sometimes we just have to allow and, be okay with that. Keep your wife's spirits up, taking care of yourself because you're connected to her spiritually. And just reassuring your wife that this is life and this experience is meant to make her stronger. She's gaining such a powerful ancestor on the other side, and it teaches us the art of detachment. We have to let go, We lost, you know, we didn't lose, you know, Baba Kalindi, he shape shifted. So again, like I say too, even for me, I'm learning to change my words, my vocabulary about certain things. Like I say, with his transition, me losing someone that's close to me, you know, as a lover, as a business partner and teacher and all those things, it's like, they don't go anywhere. You know, they change, and I'm not grieving. I have not grieved. I'm not sad, because the love that I have for this human and the experiences, they aren't sad. So learning to lean on that which empowers you. Your wife has to make choices that support celebration and healing and release on this journey. This is happening so she can learn how to do that. So trusting the process, like I say, massage therapy, offering the bath, the sacred baths, the massage, again, the essential oils and things to love on her. That's my first love with sacred plant medicine, is through the use of aromatherapy, you know.
Have you ever worked with people with terminal illness and helping prepare them to die? This is another question from Sheila.
I have not. Spirit hasn't quite guided me to that yet. And there's a part of me, again, fuck fear, right? But still, there's that reality of being careful what we ask for, you know. So me ready to, I want to be a death doula or a death midwife. Oh, you do? You know how the universe show up. Oh, you do? That's what you want? And then you have to be prepared for what happens around you for that manifestation to come. You ask for it, you're going to get it. You know, so I would love to hold that space for individuals, you know. Many years ago, before psilocybin, I'll be quick. My mother, I was giving her a massage. She interrupted me. She said, "Can you do me a favor?" I said, yeah. She said, "When I die, can you prepare my body with oils and herbs? I just feel like a queen right now. Everything you're doing, everything that you're using." And I'm like, it wasn't until years later, during psilocybin, that I just came into this space and I was crying. I said, we need more rituals around death, you know. So it's coming, you know, it's coming, but it's nothing that I'm trying to rush. It's a little personal to share. I don't even know if I should share. But the evening that Kalindi made his transition, I held space for him, you know, and it was through that process that I was a bit of a, you know, like I say, death doula, for lack of better words. But I said, that's why Baba named me the entheogenic midwife. You know, I said, maybe he knew that I would be the one to sit with him and assist him through that transition. And during the process, I kept questioning it, and Spirit kept saying, stop questioning it. Don't question yourself. Don't question this. So again, a lot of what's going on around us is so much bigger than us. So we have to learn to allow, you know. It could just be, you know, preparing me for what's to come. But yeah, I'm definitely open to it when Spirit guides me in that direction, you know. There's a whole, and in that journey, there's a whole consciousness in death itself. You know, if we don't have the consciousness of life together and how to maintain that experience, we got to stretch to go before that other piece. Again, there's a whole nother consciousness of death that, again, you got to be ready for it when you ask for it. So I'm not that girl. I ask for things, but I've learned not to ask for much, because I have to be prepared for the reality and the shifts that come along with that. It's not fun and games. Holding space for people, midwifery work, the mushroom work, is not a spectator sport. This is real shit, people. This is real. It's powerful. It's important. It's detrimental to our existence of life and our children, you know? So we got to look these things in the face. Fear, death, all of it. You know, like I say, when we transform, you know, for the gentleman who asked the question about his wife, once we understand that in this shape-shifting, in this transformation, that we become the greater, grandest version of ourselves. You know, in the beginning, I'm like, Baba, like, what do you mean, Baba shape-shifted? What do you mean? But after that, you know what I said? Go ahead, Baba. I salute you. I honor you in this process. You know, what am I going to be sad for and cry? That's dishonor to such a powerful being who came here and did what he was supposed to do. So like I say, as long as we do what we're supposed to do and honor people and live righteously and make the sacrifices, we win in death, you know?
So we are just about at an hour. I can't believe how fast it went by. We have a couple more minutes. So Omolewa, I just want to turn it back over to you for final words of wisdom, reflections, anything else that you just want to share with the folks who are listening. And by the way, there's 225 people listening. So.
Oh, wow. Hey, everybody. You know, friends and family, psychonauts. Did you hear me say that?
Oh, everyone heard you say that.
Y'all too. So the psychonauts and the psychonuts, we're all family here, you know. But like I say, let's just really take care of ourselves, love one another, have the experiences we're supposed to have, be fearless. Like I say, not be so hard on ourselves and uptight. And every day we have the power to change our realities. Let's create the magic, because the most important part of the mushrooms is the magic. Believe in that magic. We're the magicians of our own lives. Let's create the worlds that we know exist because they're inside of us. You know, the gardens, the flowers, the businesses, like whatever we want. Let's be the gods of our lives and create and be accountable.
And if folks want to get in touch with you or hear more or see you again, how do they do that?
Yes, on Facebook, I'm Omolewa, entheogenic midwife. I have Sweet Serenity Company Facebook page and also Instagram. You know, my email address is serenityissweet@yahoo.com. And like I say, let's sort our stuff out. You know, if anybody wants to call or has any questions, I love to assist people on their psilocybin journey. And again, make sure they're taking care of themselves during, you know, before, during, and around the psilocybin journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I just dropped her email address in the chat there for you, so you can find it if you want it. And I hope you just have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Be well.